Hello everyone and welcome. Today we are looking at a couple of new coffees from Nespresso as part of their Reviving Origins series. This is a program that was started in 2018 where they partner with farmers and build long-lasting relationships and try to revive some of the coffee regions that might have been hit with some hardships over the past few years. There are 4 coffees from this year's harvest, but I have just 2 here that really caught my eye, and I thought I would give them a taste and talk about them a little bit in case you are interested in buying them for yourself. Just before we start though, it would really help me out if you could consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'd love to continue to build this community and talk about coffee and learn about coffee. I really appreciate it, and now, Nespresso. So we'll start off with a coffee from Uganda, and something that really caught my eye was their beautiful description of the origin. They say the Rwenzori Mountains stretch for 120 kilometers along the western Uganda. The glaciers and snow-capped peaks provide steady water sources to complement the abundant rainfall that nourishes the fertile soils. High above the 1,200-meter mark grows a rare, almost forgotten coffee. Its unique terroir is complemented by the shade and nutrients provided by banana trees, creating a true Arabica dreamland. And that sounds like a beautiful place to grow coffee. So while I get this started, another thing that caught my eye was some of their flavor notes and descriptions. They describe it as a coffee with sandalwood notes, something that's rich and clean with wild, floral, and fruity flavors. We'll get into the roast profile a little later, but I think it is more of a dark roast than it is a light roast, but let's see what kind of notes we can pick out. So I definitely get a rich, woody aroma, something very dense and complex and spicy. I get a little bit of fruit, not much, but something light in the background. But you can certainly tell that it is a slightly darker roasted coffee. It's going to be probably quite strong and complex and very bold, spicy flavors. But we'll see if that translates through to the taste. That is actually really quite nice. It's not as harsh or as bitter as I thought it might be. It has a sort of red cherry fruit behind it, which is really nice. It reminds me of the La Completa, which I did a video on recently. That sort of dark cherry fruit, not nearly as much as the La Completa, but something is in here as well. So really quite unique for an espresso. They don't have a lot of coffees that kind of come through with a stronger fruit flavor, especially with these darker roasts. So this is really quite pleasing. It's a very nice texture, sort of sweeter baking spices in there, something kind of molassesy, that sort of dark brown sugar. So this coffee is split into 2 roasts. It is roasted fairly dark with actually a naturally dry processed coffee, which is a very important aspect, and that's exactly where I'm getting those dark, heavy, cherry, floral notes. If you want to know more about that sort of process and what goes behind it, again, if you watch the La Completa video that I recently did, I explained a lot of the process there. And then they have a second roast, which is roasted more lightly, reaching a medium to dark degree. And by going a little lighter on that second roast, they're gonna preserve more of those acidic compounds. They're gonna have a little more fruitiness and more character coming through. I think you could pair it with some milk if you'd like, but this is really quite nice on its own as well. Now let's move on and give the Colombian a shot. This coffee comes from Caqueta in Colombia, and they say that 50 years of conflict meant many farmers abandoned their lands. When the peace agreement was sealed, we started to partner with local farmers. And I believe that this region was part of their Reviving Origins series for quite some time. It is meant to be a rich and balanced Arabica with fruity notes and fine acidity. So these are definitely flavors that I enjoy, and I'm excited to give it a shot. So let's try. I should have also mentioned that these coffees come in the Nespresso Original series and the Virtuo machines. I think they'll pull slightly differently, where these will pull as a regular espresso or a long shot on your original machine. And the Virtuo, I believe, pulls as a long shot between 110 and 150 milliliters. So keep that in mind. So this has a really rich aroma, something that reminds me more of a classical espresso style. Mostly dark, heavy notes. And what's interesting is that the Colombia is rated a 5 in the intensity level, whereas the Uganda is rated an 8. But just based on the smell so far, I would certainly think that the Colombia is a darker coffee. Let's give it a taste and see if it changes. That confuses me. This coffee is actually quite light and acidic, which I would not have thought with the aroma and how it smelled. There is some grape-like acidity to it, maybe some underripe cherries, some of those Rainier cherries, the white cherries. I almost get a little bit of apple. It's just a nice, crisp, and lightly acidic coffee, but there's almost no bitterness. It's very balanced, it's very clean. I can see now why this is rated as a less intense coffee. I'm not sure if there are any naturally processed coffees that went into this Colombian, but it certainly has a surprising amount of fruit, and I'm really liking a lot of the stuff that Nespresso is coming out with when it has these sorts of notes, because a lot of their single releases, a lot of their year-round releases have a similar taste profile. They have a similar darkness or intensity. For some of them, I couldn't even tell the difference. But with some of these special releases, I'm really enjoying their complexity, their flavor profiles, and I would highly recommend giving these a shot, for sure. So that is everything that I have for today. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried these coffees or if you've had the other ones in this series. Let me know how they are and if you like this kind of video. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to subscribe. I will see you all again next week. Have a great day.